Welcome to Night Horror, where the dark isn't just a place, it's a warning.
It had been almost 8 years since I'd last seen D'Angelo in person. By then, I'd left the music scene behind, burned out, half-deaf from years of studio life, and carrying too many secrets buried under layers of static and silence. Then, one night, my phone buzzed with a message that shouldn't have been possible. It was a voice note. From D'Angelo, "Come to the old studio, bro. One last session, I need someone to hear this." No greeting. No context. Just that voice raspy, desperate, trembling like it was dragged across glass. I stared at my phone for an hour before I finally went. The studio he meant was Holotone, a forgotten place off Route 9, where we used to record in the early 2000s. It had been closed for years after a fire. Gutted half the equipment, but when I got there that night, the neon sign was on Holotone Studios. OP and the O flickered in and out, like it was breathing inside. The air was stale and wet. The hall smelled of dust, old wires, and rain seeping through cracks. I could still remember the layout, by muscle memory, the control room to the left, the booth straight ahead, and then, from behind the glass, a figure. He looked thinner, paler. His once famous glow, velvet smooth charm was gone. His eyes were sunken, his hands twitching like they were keeping time to music only he could hear. "Yup. Marcus," he said, his voice dry. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Came. I didn't know what to say. It had been years. And seeing him there alone in that burned-out studio felt wrong. Like seeing a ghost still trying to sing. "I got something," he said. "Something they told me to finish." "Who?" I asked. He looked toward the booth window, where the reflection of the dim lights shimmered like water. "Them," he whispered. "The ones behind the sound." I thought it was metaphorical. D'Angelo always spoke like that, mystic, poetic, a little eccentric. But that night, there was no rhythm to it. His words were flat, cold, certain. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small cassette tape, wrapped in faded masking tape. Written in red ink, "The final song. I recorded this last week," he said, "but I didn't record it, you know. I was just there, and it happened." He handed it to me, his fingers trembling. When I touched it, I swear I felt something vibrate inside the tape like a low pulse, almost alive. "I can't listen to it anymore," he whispered. "Not alone." So we set it up. The old reel-to-reel deck still worked somehow. The machine groaned as it came to life, the magnetic tape whining softly. "Before we start," he said, "I gotta confess something." He leaned closer, his breath shaky. "I made a deal once," he said. "Not for fame. Not for money. For sound. I wanted to hear it, the pure note. The voice beyond what human ears can make. I thought it was art, man. But it was something else answering." He looked around the room nervously, then whispered, "They used me to sing for them. And now they want a new voice." The lights flickered. At first, I thought it was a storm outside. But the hum from the speakers changed pitch, slowly forming a faint melody. Even though the tape hadn't started yet. "Do you hear that?" I asked. He nodded. "It's them. They know we're here." He pressed play. The speakers hissed. Static bled into the room, soft at first, then layered with low tones like a choir breathing in unison. And then, the voice, it wasn't D'Angelo's, it was deep, wrong, and wet like sound made underwater. It spoke, not sang, a string of words that didn't belong to any language I knew. The walls began to hum. The old glass in the booth vibrated. And I swear to God I saw movement behind the reflection. Shadows shifting, forming vague outlines of faces. Dozens of them, all mouthing the same word in rhythm with the song. Here, D'Angelo's hand gripped my arm. "Stop it," he shouted. I hit pause, and the sound cut off instantly. Silence, dropping so fast my ears popped for a moment. We both just stared at each other. Then, the glass cracked. A thin hairline fracture ran across the booth window, splitting one of the reflections clean down the middle. "What the hell was that?" I whispered. He didn't answer. He was shaking, muttering to himself. "It's too late. They found the frequency. They'll never stop listening." He stood up, pacing, scratching his neck until it bled. "They said I had to pass it on. Someone else has to take it, or it eats me from the inside." You came, man. That means you're next." I backed away. "You're not making sense." He stopped and looked at me with hollow eyes. "You heard it, didn't you? Once you hear the note, you're marked. You'll dream of them tonight. And then next time you record something, you'll hear your own voice, but it won't be you." He picked up the tape and shoved it into my hands. "Take it," he said. "Before I burn everything." I didn't want to. But when I looked at him, I saw something behind his eyes, like faint static crawling under his skin. He was deteriorating, like an image losing quality in real time. "D, you need help," he laughed. Not like himself. It was harsh, metallic, jagged. I already had help. That's the problem. The lights blew out. For a second, the entire studio went black except for the faint red glow of the tape recorder's rec light still blinking. I could hear him breathing in the dark. Then, the faintest whisper, not from him, but from every corner of the room, "One must sing." The power snapped back. The lights flickered once, and D'Angelo was gone. The booth door was still swinging, like someone had just stepped through, but there was nowhere to go, just a wall of shattered glass and a broken mic cable trailing across the floor. I called out his name until my throat went dry. Nothing, only the faint hum from the speakers, like something still listening. When I left that night, the rain was heavier. My car radio turned on by itself before I even touched the ignition. Through the static, I heard a familiar voice whisper, "You heard it now, Marcus. Keep it playing." I threw the tape in the glove box and drove without looking back. But the whole drive home, I couldn't stop hearing it, the faint hum under every sound. Even my heartbeat fell into rhythm with it, like something else was keeping time with me. It's strange how silence changes after you've heard something you weren't meant to. The next morning, my apartment didn't feel like mine anymore. Every sound of hum of the fridge, the ticking clock, even the low buzz of city traffic fell into the same rhythm, a pulse, the same one from that night. I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw flickers of the studio light and D'Angelo's face disappearing into the dark. And underneath it all, I heard that voice whispering, "Greater than one must sing." I told myself it was a hallucination, sleep deprivation. But when I checked my phone, there was a new voicemail from an unknown number. I pressed play. * Marcus. It's me. Don't come looking for me. They're close. I shouldn't have shown you the tape. Don't listen to it again. Promise me that. * then static. And beneath it, faintly, a hum that grew sharper the longer I listened, until my speaker started vibrating. I dropped the phone, and it cut off. For a full minute, I stood there, frozen. Then I remembered the tape. I hadn't thrown it away. I'd left it in the glove box. By noon, I found myself driving back to Hollowtone. The studio was chained shut this time. No lights, no sign of life. I pried open a window and climbed in, heart pounding. The place felt colder, empty, but not dead. It felt like the walls were still breathing. The console was still running, even though the power should have been off. The red light on the tape deck blinked steadily, as if waiting, and then I saw it. The tape that D'Angelo had given me was gone. In its place was a small black envelope with my name scrawled across it. Inside was a cassette labeled, "Confession to Listen Alone." My hands shook as I slid it into the deck. The tape hissed alive, and his voice filled the room. "Greater than if you're hearing this, Marcus, then I'm gone." I couldn't keep it quiet anymore. I tried. But they don't just want the song, they want an audience. I froze. His voice trembled, but there was something else under it, a faint echo, like someone whispering the same words a split second later. Greater than. It started after the line sessions back in 2000. I was chasing a sound I heard in my sleep. Pure harmony like angels, but wrong. So wrong, I thought I could record it. I built a tone generator and matched what I heard. But it wasn't just sound, it was something's call. The speakers hissed. I turned the volume down, but the sound pulsed like a heartbeat, growing stronger. That night, something answered. Not in the room, in the recording. When I played it back, there were voices. Thousands, layered, and they were singing my name. I thought it was interference. But when I reversed the track, they said it clear as daylight. There was a pause. Then D'Angelo's voice dropped to a whisper. "Greater than," they said. "We can make you heard forever." My chest tightened. The tape squealed slightly, distorting the sound. Then I heard him breathing, fast, panicked. "Greater than," I said, "yes." Stupid, desperate yes. And after that, everything changed. My voice, my shows, my fans, they weren't reacting to me. They were reacting to them. They feed on attention, on sound waves, on the energy of being heard. Every concert, every playback, they were growing stronger. He started coughing, the sound breaking into wet gasps. Greater than. They told me they'd need a replacement one day. A new vessel. That's what the song was for, the final song. It's a handover ritual, man. The last note you sing seals it. Then, faintly, I heard something else on the tape, a second voice. Lower, older, whispering beneath his words like a translation. "Greater than one must sing, one must fade." I stopped the tape, my hand shaking. The air in the room felt thick, charged with static. My reflection in the booth glass shimmered. For a heartbeat, I saw another face overlapping mine, mouth open in a silent scream. I stumbled backward and killed the power to the deck, but the speakers didn't go silent. Instead, they began to hum again, that same low, wet tone. Only this time, it shaped itself into something unmistakable: my name, greater than my. The whisper stretched like melting tape. I ran, slamming the studio door behind me, not daring to look back. That night, I drank myself half blind, trying to forget. But silence wouldn't come. Every sound in my apartment synced with that same rhythm. Even when I turned off every device, the vibration stayed in the air under my skin. At 3 a.m., I woke up to music playing, soft, muffled, coming from my living room. I crept out, thinking I'd left my TV on. But it wasn't the TV, it was my old stereo, the one that hadn't worked in years. The tape deck door was open, empty. But the reels were moving, turning slowly, and through the static I heard his voice again. Closer now, whispering, greater than "Don't fight it, Marcus. They already chose you." The power cord wasn't even plugged in. I lunged forward and yanked the machine off the shelf. The moment it hit the floor, the whisper stopped. But before I could catch my breath, the house went dead quiet. No fridge hum, no wind outside, just silence. And then from behind me a faint breath, right next to my ear. "Greater than you heard it twice. Now it's yours." I spun around. Nothing. But I could still feel warm air brushing the back of my neck. Like someone had just spoken through me instead of to me. That's when I realized something that chilled me to my core. Every sound I made, my breathing, my footsteps, was echoing half a second late, like someone else was mimicking me. Slightly out of sync, I ran to the bathroom mirror. My reflection blinked slower than I did. When I opened my mouth to speak, it smiled. "Greater than one must sing." The glass cracked, same pattern as the studio window. I screamed, grabbed a towel, and smashed the mirror to pieces. My reflection broke into fragments, each shard catching a flicker of movement. Faces, eyes, mouths, all whispering the same thing in unison. "The song is almost ready." I stumbled out into the hallway, shaking, heart racing. My phone buzzed again. "Unknown number," I answered. Static. Then D'Angelo's voice. Faint but urgent. "Greater than Marcus. Destroy the tape before the third night. Don't let them finish the chorus." The call cut. My phone melted into dead pixels. I don't remember falling asleep. I don't remember dreaming. But when I awoke, there was music playing again. This time, it was coming from inside my head. The same voice. The same melody. The same cursed note. And beneath it, another whisper, familiar, now patient. 3 nights. One must sing. I didn't go back to work after that night. Every waking hour was filled with noise that wasn't there, phantom melodies. Fragments of chords that didn't exist in any key. I could feel the sound now, like it was moving through my blood. By the second night, sleep became impossible. Whenever I closed my eyes, I saw D'Angelo standing in front of that mic again, whispering to something I couldn't see. Behind him, in the reflection of the booth, dozens of faces pressed against the glass, mouths open, eyes empty. Every time I woke, I could still hear them. That afternoon, I found a padded envelope outside my door. No sender name. Inside, another cassette. This one had a label that simply said, Asterisk asterisk play it backward. Asterisk asterisk my breath caught in my throat. I should have burned it right there. I wanted to, but curiosity it's poison, especially when you think there might be a way to understand what's happening. I drove to an old friend's studio across town, an engineer named Rico who owed me favors. I told him I had an old demo I wanted to restore, just to hear it in reverse. He raised an eyebrow. Analog tape. Man, that's old school. Yeah, I said. Just need it digitized cleanly. Don't listen too long. He laughed like I was joking. While the machines warmed up, Rico stepped out to grab coffee. I sat there alone, staring at the reels spinning. The first few seconds were nothing but white noise, then the low hum returned, that same tone, the one that vibrated through bone more than air. When I reversed the playback, something emerged from the static clearer this time. Voices, 100 of them, layered in unnatural harmony, each syllable twisted backward, forming patterns that made my stomach turn. And then, under all of it, came D'Angelo's voice again, greater than Marcus. If you're hearing this, you've already let them in. The power flickered. I froze. The studio lights dimmed to red emergency glow. The speakers popped once, then screamed. Not a musical scream, but human. Dozens, maybe hundreds. Each voice layered perfectly into one distorted harmony that shook the air. The walls themselves seemed to pulse, breathing in time with it. Then, a phrase repeated, over and over, so clearly it felt carved into my skull, greater than we sing through you now. The console meter spiked into the red. I slammed the stop button. Nothing. The tape spun faster on its own, the reels blurring until the magnetic strip tore free and whipped across the console like a live wire. Rico burst back into the room, coffee spilling everywhere. Marcus, what the hell? He stopped mid-sentence. His eyes went wide. His jaw slackened. I turned to look where he was staring, on the glass of the control booth. Faint outlines began to form. Handprints, dozens of them. Then faces. They weren't reflections anymore, they were inside the glass. Pressing out, I dragged Rico out of the room. He fought me, dazed, muttering under his breath. When I got him into the hallway, I saw what he was saying, over and over. Greater than, do you hear it? They're singing my name. I didn't go back inside. We ran until we hit the street. I didn't even realize until later that the tape was still in the machine that night. I got another voicemail. This one wasn't from D'Angelo. It was me. My voice, same tone, same hesitation. Only I hadn't called anyone. Greater than Marcus. Stop running. You can't outrun a song. You can only finish it. Then laughter. Mine again, but off somehow. Hollow, distorted, like it was playing through water. I threw my phone at the wall. Shattered it, but the laughter didn't stop. It kept echoing from somewhere behind me, faint. Like someone standing just outside the room. The more I tried to block out the sound, white noise. Headphones, silence, the louder it became. And when I covered my ears completely, I realized the worst part. It wasn't coming from outside anymore. It was coming from asterisk inside my skull. Asterisk, by the third night, I'd reached the edge. I tore through old boxers, found the first tape, the one from the studio. I thought if I could destroy it, maybe it would stop. I went to the backyard, dug a hole, and poured gasoline on it. As I lit the match, I heard that familiar hum again. Rising from nowhere, the tape in my hand began to move, witching, twisting like a living thing. I dropped it into the pit. The flame caught, blue and violent. But as the tape burned, the fire sank. A low harmonic tone filled the air, and for a moment, I could see shapes forming in the smoke faces again, mouths open, eyes rolling upward like marionettes pulled by invisible strings. They weren't fading, they were watching, and then, faintly behind me, a voice whispered, "Greater than you can't destroy what isn't recorded. You're the tape now." I fell to my knees. My vision blurred. The hum filled my ears until it was all I could hear, a perfect, endless drone that swallowed every thought, then dashed silence for a heartbeat. I thought it was over. I could hear my breathing again. The air was still, but as I got up, I realized the silence wasn't real. It wasn't absence, it was waiting. The ground beneath me vibrated faintly steady, rhythmic. The same pulse, and when I looked down, I saw the soil move like something alive beneath it. Breathing, a small black object pushed through the dirt at my feet. Another cassette. No label, just one word carved into the plastic. Greater than record. I don't know what possessed me to take it back inside. Maybe fear? Maybe curiosity? Maybe that lingering voice whispering my name in perfect pitch. When I held it up to the light, I saw faint lines inside the tape, shapes that looked like waves, moving even when the tape was still. It wasn't blank, it was recording already. I could hear faint breathing inside the shell, syncing with mine. I dropped it. It hit the floor and rolled, landing perfectly on its back, the spools facing up, and in the faint hum of the room, I heard the melody again, the one from the first night. The chorus was forming. It followed me everywhere when I turned on the shower, when I brushed my teeth, even when I whispered my own name. The sound answered back, harmonizing with me. Faint but alive. By the time the sun went down, I realized the sound wasn't outside anymore. It was in me. I tried to record it to prove I wasn't losing my mind. I set up my phone and hit record while the hum filled the room. When I played it back, there was nothing. Just silence. But as I turned up the volume, a second layer emerged. Whispers, buried deep in the static. Greater than Marcus. Sing, that voice again, familiar, pleading, distorted by distance. It was single quotes. Angelo, he was still alive. Or something pretending to be him was. I called Rico, told him everything. He didn't even let me finish. Greater than don't say my name, he whispered over the line. They're listening through us now. What are you talking about? You played it backward, didn't you? That's how they spread. They're not trapped in the tapes anymore. They're using us, our voices, our recordings, our signals. Every word we speak gets closer to finishing their song. He hung up. I called back. No answer. When I checked the news later that night, I saw a headline that made my stomach drop. **** Local sound engineer found dead in studio fire. The photo was Rico. The article said they found him burned to ash, but the room itself was untouched. Only the microphone and speakers melted. The cause of death, unknown acoustic anomaly. I locked every device I owned in a closet, but the humming didn't stop. It moved from the walls to the air, then to my body. I could feel it crawling under my skin, syncing with my heartbeat. Every pulse carried a tone. When I tried to drown it out with music, the songs warped. Every track on my playlist began to shift slightly in pitch, forming that same E-flat drone. It didn't matter what genre, what artist, everything bent to that key. I ripped the headphones off and threw my phone across the room. That's when I heard it again behind me. It's almost time. The voice came from the old stereo, the one I'd smashed days ago. It was still broken, no power, no tape, but the reels turned slowly on their own. And from the speakers, faintly at first, came the same tune D'Angelo played that night. The final song. But this time, there were two voices, mine and his, singing together. I stumbled back, clutching my ears, but the melody didn't stop. It was inside my head, vibrating through my teeth. My reflection in the dark TV screen began to move out of sync, again, mouth opening wider than mine, eyes stretching into black hollows. Then my reflection sang. No sound came from me, but I could feel my chest vibrating like a speaker. My own bones were instruments now, resonating with something I couldn't control. Greater than finish it, the reflection whispered, and you'll be free. I ran to the bathroom and turned on every faucet, every source of noise I could make, but they all fell into rhythm with that cursed pulse. Every drip, every drop, P-flat. Desperate, I started writing, scribbling notes, lyrics, anything. I thought maybe if I finished the song, it would stop. Maybe they'd leave me alone if I gave them what they wanted. Hours passed. My hands cramped when I finally looked at what I'd written. My blood went cold. Every line was the same phrase over and over. Greater than one must sing, one must fade. I dropped the pen. My ears were ringing now, louder than ever. The windows began to tremble, thin cracks crawling along the glass like spiderwebs. My vision blurred. The air rippled, and then I saw them. Dozens of figures standing in my living room, hazy, shimmering silhouettes made of vibrating air. Their mouths moving in perfect unison, each one singing the same note. At their center was D'Angelo, his skin flickered like corrupted film, his eyes hollow, his mouth trembling as he mouthed the words, "It's your verse now, Marcus." The walls bent inward, pulsing to the rhythm of my heartbeat. The lights flickered in perfect time. I fell to my knees, clutching my head. "Stop," I screamed. And for a second, everything went quiet. Then D'Angelo leaned forward, impossibly close, his voice cutting through the silence. "Greater than you already finished it. You've been recording this whole time." I looked at the floor. My phone was on, its screen glowing red. Asterisk, asterisk, voice memo. 2 hours, 17 minutes and 43 seconds recording. Asterisk, asterisk, I hit stop, but as soon as I did, every sound vanished. The room fell into absolute, suffocating silence, the kind that makes you realize you're not alone. From the phone's speaker came a faint playback click, followed by my own voice whispering, "Greater than one must sing." Then static, and under it, another voice, older, deeper, inhuman. "The performance begins at dawn." I don't remember how I ended up outside. I just remember the cold air biting my skin, my feet bare. The night sky spinning overhead. Somewhere behind me, the apartment windows glowed faintly red, pulsing to the same E-flat rhythm. My phone vibrated once more. A new file appeared automatically. Final confession complete. It wasn't possible, but when I pressed play, I heard a sound that froze me where I stood. A crowd, thousands of voices singing my name, and above them, harmonizing perfectly. D'Angelo's voice again. Greater than one must sing, one must fade. The screen turned black. A final message appeared across it, written in static. Greater than now everyone will hear. I didn't sleep for days after that night. Every sound felt like a trap. Every vibration, my own breath, my pulse. The distant hum of streetlights carried that same E-flat tone beneath it. I thought if I stayed silent long enough, the sound would die, but silence doesn't stop music. It only makes it louder inside your head. When the knock came, it wasn't human. 3 soft taps. Then a pause, then the same rhythm, again asterisk E-flat, C, E-flat. Asterisk I peered through the PEEPHOL. No one was there, but a flash drive lay on the floor. No label, just a single word scratched into the plastic with a needle. Play. My hands shook as I slotted it into my laptop. The screen flickered to life, static swimming across it. A video file appeared, confession_final.mp, for the thumbnail showed. D'Angelo's studio, the one that burned down. I pressed play. The footage began with alive but hollow-eyed, sitting in the same chair from his final session. His skin looked translucent under the dim red light, like candle wax beginning to melt. He stared straight at the camera. "If you're seeing this," he said, "it means it worked." He smiled deeply. Greater than we finished the song. But the song isn't music anymore. It's a signal. Something that speaks through sound waves. We recorded it, thinking we were creating art, but all we did was build a door. He turned the camera toward the mixing board. The reels were turning by themselves. The meters twitched even though no one touched the controls. Greater than it doesn't stop when we die, D'Angelo continued. It just changes who's listening. Then the screen went black. A low, resonant note filled the room, E-flat again. But this time, the tone shifted, modulating, forming patterns. Morse code. I wrote it down. BROADCAST. A sudden pop from my speakers made me flinch. The file restarted on its own. The image distorted, flickering with interference. D'Angelo was gone. Now, the camera faced me, not a reflection in exact live feed of my apartment. My same clothes. My same expression. Except the version of me on screen smiled and whispered, "Greater than. It's your turn to broadcast." The video ended, and a new application opened automatically, a streaming software window I'd never installed before. The title read, ***live. Final confession. 0 hours, 59 minutes and 47 seconds remaining. ***, it was counting down. I yanked the laptop plug from the wall. But the battery stayed on. No matter what I didn't install. Force close. Smash the keyboard. The timer kept ticking, and behind it, faintly, a waveform began to rise. I could see the sound building before I could even hear it. That same hum. That cursed tone. growing thicker, richer. More human, at 0 hours, 0 minutes and 10 seconds. Every light in the room dimmed, at 0 hours, 0 minutes and 3 seconds. My laptop camera light blinked on, at 0 hours, 0 minutes and 1 second. The broadcast began. The screen filled with static. Then, my face again blank, eyes wide, mouth open, but I wasn't moving. I wasn't breathing. The image of me on screen was singing, not words, frequencies. The kind that vibrates your teeth and make your blood buzz. I felt every bone in my skull resonate as the note climbed higher, sharper, slicing the air like glass. I tried to close the laptop, but the hinges burned, to my touch literally burned. I screamed, my voice instantly swallowed by the tone, and somewhere beyond the sound behind. I heard thousands of others singing along. Greater than one must sing, one must fade. The chorus built until the air itself split. The apartment walls pulsed outward, bending like rubber. Each flash of light sinking to the beat of that infernal song. Then, suddenly darkness. When I came to, I was lying on the floor of my apartment. Smoke curled around me, the laptop was gone. Every electronic device, TV, microwave, even the light bulbs was shattered. Their glass warped outward as if something escaped through them. I thought it was over. But then my phone buzzed. A notification from a platform I'd never joined. Asterisk, asterisk. Your live broadcast reached 1.4 million viewers. Congratulations. Asterisk, asterisk. My heart stopped. I checked the comments below the post. Every single one said the same thing. Greater than I heard it too. It's in my head. We're all singing now. The next morning, the city felt wrong. People on the street moved in slow rhythm, their footsteps almost synchronized. A soft hum filled the air, echoing from buildings, cars. Even the wind and every face I passed mouthed the same silent phrase, one must sing. I ran to the nearest cafe, desperate for noisy normal sound. But when I opened the door, the radio behind the counter was playing a familiar melody, the final song, and over it, faint but unmistakable, a DJ's voice. This one's been spreading fast online. Don't know where it came from, but man, it's haunting. You're listening to the final confession. The barista turned toward me. Her eyes were completely black, her lips stretched into a too-wide grin. You started it, she whispered. I stumbled back into the street. The world around me vibrated in that same cursed tone. My phone buzzed again, another notification, asterisk, asterisk, next broadcast begins in 6 hours. Your audience awaits. Asterisk, asterisk, I dropped it and ran. But no matter where I went, the sound followed. The hum was in the pavement, the air, the sky. Then I realized something that made my stomach drop. There was no music player, no source. It was coming from inside everyone. Every single person around me was humming that same note, thousands of mouths forming a single unified sound. I looked up high above. The sky itself rippled. Patterns of light moved through the clouds like sound waves, vibrations shaping faces, mouths, eyes. And in the thunderous harmony that followed, I heard D'Angelo's voice again. Greater than the confession never ends. I screamed, covering my ears, but the sound pierced straight through my skull. My vision warped, the world tilting sideways. somewhere deep inside the noise, I heard a message, quiet, intimate, familiar, my own voice. Don't run, sing. And then, I finally understood what D'Angelo meant. This wasn't just a song, it was possession. A frequency that needed human bodies to survive, and I had become its instrument. The last thing I remember is pressing record again, because the silence was worse than the song now. If you're hearing this, it means you've already tuned in, you've heard the frequency too, and once you hear it, you're part of the performance. Greater than one must sing, one must fade. The broadcast isn't over. Check your speakers. If you hear that low hum, don't listen too long, because the song isn't waiting for D'Angelo anymore. It's waiting for you.